You're about to see a video of an angry Muslim shaking his finger and yelling at a Channel 9 cameraman. This happened in Melbourne, April this year. If you watch this video right to the end, I'll show you how by doing absolutely nothing, you can help make sure this sort of thing doesn't happen again.
And that very same day, a demonstration that getting angry may be just what the media want.
An accused rioter has clashed with a television cameraman after facing court on charges arising from the attack on the Oakley Bob Jane store.
The charges are serious, but of course not yet proven. And anyway, it wasn't the accused rioter who was first shown clashing with the cameraman outside the Melbourne Magistrates Court. It was his father.
You bloody idiot! You idiot! I don't care, you say to whatever.
On 7 Story, that aggressive behaviour by Mr. Judd Amar seemed to come completely out of the blue. But we've been given the unedited footage shot by one of the cameramen there that day. It shows that the father had been sorely provoked, especially by the cameraman shooting for 9 News. We're going to run it at some length, and I warn you, the language isn't pretty. Omar Amar had just been given bail by the magistrate, and he and his father were trying to walk away from the court.
Hey, please, guys. Please. Hey, please, man. Please. I don't want to push anyone. Please. I said please. Don't push people, mate. I say please. I say please. You don't push people. I say please. You don't what push people.
Both men cross the street, but when they return to the pavement, it continues.
I say please. I say please. Please. Leave me alone, please. I'm just doing my job, mate. Please, leave me alone. Enough. I'm just doing my job. Oh, my God.
Just doing his job. But at most he needed a couple of shots of the pair. You'd think he'd have got enough by now. But no, he's hardly started.
Hey, man, go away, please. Leave me alone. What's the job? What's the job? You already have it. Please, go. All right, you've got me. Fuck, what do you want? Please. You've got me. All right, you've got my face. Is that what you want? Please, man. What's Mr. Omar? Fuck off. I say please, man. Please. Please, go away. Please. Okay, I don't touch you. I say please, go away. No. You don't touch people. But Omar, هم عايزين يطلعوا في ضربك. أنا say please, go away, please. Please. You're just doing your jobs. Bloody.
You don't touch people. But it's fine, apparently, to stick a camera in their faces for minutes on end while they walk down a public street. By our count, the cameraman had been asked to stop, please, 25 times by Mr. Amar. At this point, though, a noisy truck makes it hard to hear. It sounds as if the cameraman says, F off.
You say to him, fuck off? You say to him? You say to him, fuck off? Huh? You say to him to fuck off? You bloody idiot! You idiot! I don't care, you say to whatever. You idiot! سيبوه! Fucking man, سيبوه! Fucking terrorist!
That's right. The 9 cameraman, whose name is Simon Fuller, called Mr. Amar an effing terrorist. If he wanted a reaction, he certainly got one.
You say again, you bloody idiot! What do you say? You idiot! You terrorist! I like terrorist! You call him a terrorist? I didn't say that. Okay. What do you see now? Oh, we'll go get the cops now then.
The argument continued as the Amars retraced their steps towards the court in search of police. A minute and a half later, it was still going on. Omar Amar was by now furious.
Calling my dad a terrorist? Who the fuck are you to call him a terrorist? Why do you call him a terrorist? Because he has a beard and because he's Muslim? Is that what it comes down to? Is that what you guys have kept bringing it down to? You can't even have a beard in this country anymore without being calling a fucking terrorist. Have some fucking self-decency. The man's never been caught in his life and you're calling him a terrorist. You're calling him a terrorist and he's never been to court in his life. Is that what it's come down to?
Edifying stuff. Nine's Director of News in Melbourne tells Media Watch.
Simon Fuller has been stood down pending the completion of an investigation into all the facts surrounding this incident.
Good. But until TV news directors make it clear to their cameramen that they don't want people to be badgered like this, it will go on happening. It's worth remembering that there were at least 2 crews filming the incident. Wisely in the circumstances, 9 didn't broadcast a single frame of the confrontation. In a statement to Media Watch, Judd Amar's lawyer writes,
Mr. Amar wishes to clarify that he has been a citizen in this country for over 20 years and has never been the subject of a criminal allegation. He also wishes to convey his disappointment that the words were said in the first place by the Channel 9 cameraman and that the altercation was later broadcast by Channel 7.
In fact, both 10 and 7 aired some of the confrontation. Neither gave any hint of how seriously Judd Amar had been provoked. He comes across as an aggressive Muslim. His lawyer says,
"This incident has the capacity to further erode the Islamic community's confidence in the media."
No more to be said.
The following excerpt is taken from the next episode of Media Watch, 7 days later.
And talking of intrusive journalism, there was a huge response to the video we showed last week of 9 cameraman Simon Fuller's encounter with a father and son outside the Melbourne Magistrates Court.
Fucking terrorists. You say I did, you bloody idiot. What is that? You idiot. You idiot. I like terrorists. I'm a terrorist.
Well, the day after we broadcast that footage, 9 News in Melbourne announced
Simon Fuller was stood down following the incident, and after an investigation, his employment has been terminated.
Let's hope media harassment is terminated too.
So the Channel 9 cameraman, Simon Fuller, was fired. Oh, and if you're watching this, Simon, suck a fat one, mate. In fact, I hope you can't work again, so you can't pay the mortgage, so you become a bum. That way, I might have an actual chance of meeting you, and you can suck my fat one for $10, so you can go buy a kebab. Anyway, at the beginning of this video, I told you that you can help stop this kind of thing by doing nothing, and you can. All you have to do is change the channel. Whenever you come across trash television like A Current Affair, Today Tonight, Border Security, Channel 9 News, don't watch it. Change the channel. All these shows have something in common. They all serve the same dual purpose of 1, making me frickin' rage, and 2, lowering the casual viewer's acceptance and tolerance of other people. How do you teach children self-confidence? You tell them over and over again. You tell them, well done, you're smart, what a great idea. Well done, you're smart, you're so brilliant, you can achieve anything. And eventually, that kid's going to think, I'm smart, I have good ideas, I'm brilliant, and I can achieve anything. Eventually, it will stick. Unfortunately, the themes of these shows have the exact same consequence. Angry Muslim, drug smuggling Asian, un-Australian dodgy mechanic. Angry Muslim, drug smuggling Asian, angry Muslim, drug smuggling Asian, un-Australian dodgy mechanic. Eventually, that simply becomes Muslims are angry, Asians are drug smugglers, and dodgy mechanics are un-Australian. Eventually, it will stick. Border security is not about border security, and A Current Affair is certainly not about current affairs. So how can you help? Supply always stops once the demand runs dry. Don't watch. So this cameraman got fired. He is no more, but his position still is. Unfortunately, I can see this cameraman working again. In fact, I wonder if this sort of incident can be viewed as a positive on a resume such as his. I mean, he's certainly proven that he can get footage of an angry Muslim. Anyway, that's my rant. If you, like me, don't want this kind of shit in your backyard, then do your bit to stop the demand. Stop watching. Don't join the masses of mediocrity by watching this kind of trash, and ask your friends and family, if they do, why they do. Ask them what kind of enjoyment they get out of watching these kind of shows, and if they feel it has some kind of an impact on their view of other Australians. Put them on the spot. Thanks for watching.